The cosmic dance of the zodiac holds many secrets, but none quite as intense as the fiery temperament of an Aries when they've been wronged. Today we're peeling back the astrological curtain to reveal the dangerous territory you enter when attempting to manipulate the first sign of the zodiac, a cardinal fire sign ruled by Mars, the planet of war, aggression, and raw power. This isn't just another gentle astrological overview. This is a warning, a cosmic red alert for anyone who believes they can outmaneuver these natural-born warriors. Imagine for a moment the raw, unbridled energy of a flame that refuses to be extinguished. That's the essence of Aries energy, persistent, determined, and impossible to control once fully ignited. When you attempt to manipulate an Aries, you're not simply playing with fire, you're voluntarily stepping into a cosmic inferno with someone who intrinsically understands battle strategy on a soul level. The Aries individual walks through life with an invisible shield of authenticity. They value truth, directness, and loyalty above all else. These qualities aren't just preferences. They're the foundation of their entire approach to relationships. When you introduce manipulation into their world, you don't just disappoint them. You fundamentally violate the sacred contract they believed existed between you. What makes this violation particularly dangerous is that Aries doesn't process betrayal like other signs. While a Pisces might retreat into emotional waters, a Libra might attempt to restore harmony, or a Capricorn might calculate a long-term response. Aries transforms betrayal into immediate action. Their Mars-ruled nature doesn't allow them the luxury of contemplation. It demands justice, and it demands it now. The cosmic irony in attempting to manipulate an Aries lies in a fundamental misunderstanding of their nature. Those who try to deceive this sign often mistakenly believe that the Aries' straightforward approach to life indicates a certain naivety or simplicity that can be exploited. This is perhaps the most dangerous assumption one can make. Their directness isn't born from simplicity, but from a warrior's efficiency. Why waste time with deception when the truth is a more powerful weapon? Behind those passionate eyes lies a mind constantly assessing authenticity. An Aries doesn't just listen to your words. They're instinctively attuned to the subtle energetic shifts that occur when someone isn't being truthful. Before you've even completed your manipulative scheme, an invisible alarm has already sounded in their consciousness. This intuitive warning system is their first line of defense, and it rarely fails them. The true danger in crossing an Aries isn't found in their immediate reaction, though that can be formidable enough. The real peril lies in their remarkable memory for betrayal. While they may forgive a simple mistake or an unintentional slight, calculated manipulation awakens something primal in their spirit. They don't just remember that you hurt them. They remember exactly how you did it, the precise words you used, the expression on your face, and most dangerously, they remember exactly where your vulnerabilities lie. What follows a discovered manipulation isn't just anger. It's a strategic dismantling of the trust that once existed between you. An Aries doesn't just walk away. They ensure that the bridge between you isn't just burned. It's obliterated beyond any possibility of reconstruction. This isn't done out of pettiness, but from a deeply instinctual need to protect their authentic spirit from future violations. The wisdom of the zodiac teaches us that each sign holds specific lessons. With Aries, the lesson is crystal clear. Authenticity isn't just preferred, it's required. As we explore the 12 specific reasons why manipulating an Aries leads to consequences few are prepared to handle, remember that these insights aren't just astrological curiosities. They're survival guides for interacting with the cosmic warrior of the zodiac. The first 3 reasons reveal exactly how an Aries' intuitive abilities make them particularly dangerous opponents when they've been deceived. The first 3 reasons why manipulating an Aries will lead to your inevitable downfall are deeply rooted in their almost supernatural intuitive abilities, powers that make them formidable opponents when they sense deception approaching. The first reason lies in the Arian's Mars-fueled intuition, which functions as an internal lie detection system that operates on a level beyond ordinary conscious perception. This isn't the gentle, flowing intuition of a water sign that might manifest as a vague feeling or emotional response. No, the Aries intuition strikes with the precision and immediacy of a lightning bolt, sudden, electric, and undeniable. When you attempt to weave a web of manipulation around an Aries, something primordial activates within them. The planet Mars doesn't just govern their external actions. It infuses their entire perceptual system with a warrior's heightened awareness. Consider how soldiers in battle develop an almost sixth sense for danger. They can feel an ambush before seeing any evidence of it. This same instinctual awareness permeates the Aries consciousness in everyday interactions. While you're still perfecting your manipulative approach, carefully selecting your words and rehearsing your performance, the Aries has already registered the subtle inconsistencies in your energy. They notice the millisecond delay in your response, the barely perceptible shift in your eye contact, the almost imperceptible change in your vocal tone. Before you've even completed your first sentence of deception, they've already cataloged it as a potential threat. What makes this intuitive radar particularly dangerous for manipulators is that the Aries often won't immediately reveal that they've detected your dishonesty. Unlike more diplomatic signs that might avoid confrontation, or emotional signs that might retreat to process their feelings, the Aries enters a state of strategic assessment. They'll allow you to continue, watching as you entangle yourself further in your own deception, mentally documenting each layer of manipulation for future reference. By the time you realize your scheme has been transparent from the beginning, the Aries has already formulated their response, and it won't be merciful. The second reason manipulating an Aries becomes a catastrophic mistake involves their relationship with memory, specifically how they process and store experiences of betrayal. Aries individuals don't simply hold grudges. They meticulously archive every betrayal in what amounts to a mental hall of infamy. Each instance of manipulation is carefully preserved, not as vague emotional impressions, but as detailed, vivid records that maintain their clarity and emotional potency regardless of how much time passes. This isn't the passive remembering that most people experience. For an Aries, these memories become active psychological tools, regularly reviewed and incorporated into their understanding of you. Each morning when they wake, these memories aren't dusty artifacts buried in the recesses of their mind. They're polished and prominent, informing their approach to the day and to you specifically. This daily review isn't conducted from a place of bitterness, but from a warrior's pragmatism. In battle, knowing your opponent's previous strategies isn't just useful, it's essential for survival. What many fail to understand about this Aryan trait is that it isn't emotional in the way most would assume. It's methodical, strategic, and purpose-driven. They don't revisit these memories to wallow in hurt feelings. They do it to sharpen their defenses and refine their understanding of human nature. Each betrayal becomes a case study in their ongoing education about people's capacity for deception. Your manipulation doesn't just hurt them once. It becomes integrated into their worldview, a daily reminder of why boundaries and vigilance are necessary. The third reason manifests when an Aries finally decides to respond to your manipulation, transforming their natural, brutal honesty into precisely targeted psychological warfare. Under normal circumstances, an Aries' directness can be refreshing. They tell you exactly what they think without diplomatic filters or unnecessary softening. However, when this same quality is channeled through the lens of betrayal, it becomes something altogether more formidable. An Aries who has discovered your manipulation doesn't just confront you, they dismantle your carefully constructed facade with surgical precision. Their approach isn't chaotic or driven by blind rage, though it may appear that way to those who don't understand fire sign energy. Instead, it's calculated and devastatingly effective. They instinctively identify the foundational lies upon which your manipulation was built and target those specific points with unflinching accuracy. What makes this response particularly destructive to manipulators is the Aries' complete commitment to truth in these moments. They don't fight deception with more deception. They fight it with radical, unfiltered honesty. While other signs might respond to manipulation with passive-aggressive tactics or their own counter-manipulation, the Aries believes in the purifying power of truth, no matter how uncomfortable or inconvenient that truth might be. The Aries delivers this truth without hesitation or remorse, not from a place of cruelty, but from a deep-seated belief that deception must be countered with absolute clarity. They don't just tell you they know you've been manipulating them. They meticulously deconstruct each element of your approach, revealing your intentions with such clarity that denial becomes impossible. This isn't just embarrassing for the manipulator, it's psychologically devastating. Few experiences are more disarming than having someone accurately name and expose your hidden motivations, particularly when you believed those motivations were well concealed. What truly distinguishes the Aries response is their capacity to deliver this truth without emotional encumbrance. While the initial discovery of manipulation might trigger intense emotions, by the time they confront you, they've processed these feelings and distilled them into clear insight. They aren't arguing from hurt. They're speaking from a place of absolute conviction. This clarity gives their words a weight and impact that emotional outbursts could never achieve. The combination of these three qualities, their intuitive detection of deception, their meticulous memory for betrayal, and their capacity for devastating honesty, creates a formidable defense system that makes manipulating an Aries not just difficult, but potentially catastrophic for the manipulator. The Mars-ruled warrior doesn't just resist manipulation, they transform the experience into an opportunity to demonstrate exactly why authenticity isn't just a preference in their world, it's a requirement for survival. As these first three reasons reveal the intuitive powers that make an Aries particularly dangerous when betrayed, we begin to understand that their response isn't simply emotional, it's strategically executed with precision that few other signs can match. But the danger doesn't end with their intuitive abilities. The next three reasons will explore how an Aries' approach to justice and boundary enforcement creates consequences that extend far beyond your initial manipulation attempt. Moving deeper into the Aries psyche, we uncover three more profound reasons, the fourth, fifth, and sixth, why manipulation attempts against them transform into cautionary tales rather than successful strategies. These reasons reveal the strategic dimension of the Aries response, a calculated approach to justice that few anticipate from a sign often mischaracterized as purely impulsive. The fourth reason manipulation against an Aries becomes a catastrophic error involves their temper, not just its legendary intensity, but its precise, strategic application. The common misconception about an Aries anger is that it erupts randomly and dissipates quickly, like a sudden summer storm. This fundamental misunderstanding leads many would-be manipulators to believe they can simply weather a brief emotional outburst before continuing their deceptive patterns. Nothing could be further from the truth. An Aries' anger isn't random or unfocused. It's deliberately channeled with laser precision towards specific targets. When betrayed, they enter a state of heightened awareness, mentally cataloging your vulnerabilities with the detailed attention of a military strategist mapping terrain before battle. Every insecurity you've revealed in moments of intimacy, every weakness you've displayed during times of stress, every fear you've shared during late-night conversations, all of these become potential points of leverage in their strategic response. What makes this particularly dangerous is the Aries' capacity for patience in executing this strategy, a quality rarely associated with fire signs, but one that manifests powerfully when they've been betrayed. They wait for the perfect moment when your defenses are lowest, when your need for their support is highest, or when the audience for your exposure is most significant. Then, with surgical precision, they target exactly the areas that will create maximum impact. This isn't done with blind rage, but with calculated intent, the difference between a wildfire and a controlled burn. Consider the experience of Marcos, who attempted to manipulate his Aries colleague into taking blame for his own professional failures. For weeks, everything seemed fine, until the company's annual review meeting. With the entire executive team present, the Aries calmly presented documented evidence of Marcus's attempts to shift responsibility, timing the revelation precisely when it would most damage his credibility. "I thought they'd forgotten or forgiven," Marcus later admitted. I didn't realize they were just waiting for the moment when the truth would have the greatest impact. The fifth reason involves the Aries' deeply held belief in cosmic justice, a personal karma system they feel responsible for enforcing. Unlike more spiritually passive signs that might leave retribution to the universe, an Aries sees themselves as an active agent of karmic balance. Manipulate them once, and they ensure universal justice is delivered tenfold, often personally facilitating this cosmic retribution with remarkable commitment and creativity. This approach to justice isn't motivated by petty revenge, but by a profound belief that allowing manipulation to go unchallenged creates an imbalance in the natural order. The Aries feels a personal responsibility to restore this balance, not just for themselves, but as a service to the collective. By ensuring manipulators face consequences proportional to their deception, they believe they're maintaining the integrity of their community and preventing future victims from experiencing similar betrayal. What makes this karmic approach particularly effective is the Aries' willingness to invest significant resources, time, energy, reputation, and sometimes even financial means to ensure justice is served. While other signs might hesitate to engage in conflict or worry about potential blowback, the Aries accepts these as necessary costs in their role as cosmic enforcer. They understand intuitively that sometimes restoration requires disruption, that healing certain wounds requires first exposing them to air. Sarah experienced this firsthand after manipulating her Aries friend into investing in a business venture while concealing critical financial information. When the deception came to light, the Aries didn't just confront Sarah privately, they systematically contacted every potential investor in her network, providing documented evidence of her pattern of financial misrepresentations. It wasn't just about the money I lost, the Aries explained later. It was about ensuring no one else would be deceived the same way. The universe works through those willing to stand for truth. The sixth reason manipulation against an Aries backfires so spectacularly involves their approach to severance, the clean, complete cut they execute once betrayal is discovered. Unlike water signs that might maintain emotional connections even after trust is broken, or earth signs that might maintain practical associations for pragmatic reasons, or air signs that might intellectually analyze the relationship while maintaining contact, an Aries implements what can only be described as existential excommunication. Once you've been identified as manipulative, you don't merely lose their trust or goodwill, you cease to exist entirely in their universe. This isn't a temporary cooling off period or a negotiating tactic to encourage better behavior. It's a fundamental recategorization of your existence in relation to theirs. You move from being a person worthy of their energy and attention to a non-entity, completely removed from their reality with a finality that few other signs can maintain. The psychological impact of this complete excision cannot be overstated. Humans are social creatures who generally experience gradual relationship transitions, slowly growing apart, experiencing intermittent conflict followed by reconciliation, or maintaining minimal connections even after significant breaches. The Aries offers none of these familiar transition patterns. The severance is immediate, absolute, and irreversible, creating a disorienting void where a relationship once existed. Michael, who attempted to manipulate his Aries partner through emotional guilt tactics, described the experience. One day we were in a relationship and the next it was as if I'd never existed. No calls, no texts, no response to any form of communication. Mutual friends told me they wouldn't even acknowledge questions about me, not with anger or sadness, but with genuine confusion, as if they didn't know who they were being asked about. It was like being erased from someone's reality. What makes this approach particularly effective is its absolute consistency. The Aries doesn't waver in moments of loneliness or nostalgia. They don't check your social media profiles during late-night moments of weakness. They don't maintain connections with your friend group to gather information about your life. The severance is maintained with a discipline that borders on the supernatural, reinforced by their genuine belief that continuing to allocate any mental or emotional energy to someone who violated their trust would be a form of self-betrayal. These three aspects of the Aries response, their strategically directed temper, their personal enforcement of karmic justice, and their complete existential excision of manipulators from their reality create consequences that extend far beyond the immediate aftermath of discovered deception. They transform what might have seemed like a minor manipulation into a life-altering miscalculation with repercussions that continue to unfold long after the initial confrontation. As we've explored how an Aries strategically responds to betrayal, we begin to understand that their reaction isn't merely emotional, but calculated with a precision that reflects their status as the Zodiac's cosmic warrior. However, these 6 reasons only begin to illuminate the dangerous territory entered when attempting to manipulate an Aries. The next dimension reveals how their competitive nature transforms them from reactive responders into proactive opponents once they've identified manipulation. The next 3 reasons, the 7th, 8th, and 9th, reveal how an Aries' innate competitive nature transforms them from merely responsive to actively formidable when confronted with manipulation. This competitive spirit, often misunderstood as simple aggression, actually manifests as a sophisticated approach to conflict that leaves manipulators outmatched on multiple fronts. The 7th reason manipulating an Aries becomes a self-destructive endeavor involves their unique response to being challenged. Their innate competitive spirit means they won't just defeat your manipulation, they'll outmaneuver it so thoroughly that their response becomes instructive to others, a masterclass in boundary enforcement that transforms a private betrayal into a public lesson. This educational dimension of their response is particularly dangerous for manipulators who prefer to operate in shadows. When an Aries discovers they've been manipulated, something shifts in their fundamental approach to the situation. What began as a personal conflict transforms into a competition they're determined to win definitively. This isn't about petty one-upmanship. It's about demonstrating a principle, specifically that authenticity triumphs over deception. The Aries approaches this demonstration with the focus and dedication of an Olympic athlete, bringing all their considerable resources to bear on a single objective, turning your manipulation attempt into a cautionary tale. What makes this competitive response particularly effective is that it's executed with complete commitment. An Aries doesn't engage halfway or hedge their bets. They commit fully to their counter strategy, often taking calculated risks that other signs might avoid. This willingness to go all in creates a fundamental imbalance in the conflict. While you may have been manipulating as one of many simultaneous social strategies, the Aries makes responding to your deception their primary focus until the matter is conclusively resolved. Elena experienced this after attempting to manipulate her Aries colleague through office politics, subtly undermining their contributions while taking credit for their ideas. When the Aries discovered this pattern, they didn't just confront Elena privately. Instead, they meticulously documented every instance of idea appropriation, created a comprehensive presentation with time-stamped evidence, and requested a special departmental meeting where they calmly presented their findings. It wasn't just about exposing Elena, a team member later observed. It was about establishing a new standard for how we handle attribution and collaboration. Everyone in the department changed their behavior afterward. The 8th reason delving into manipulative tactics with an Aries proves catastrophic concerns their approach to confrontation. Unlike other signs that might choose subtle revenge tactics or passive-aggressive responses, Aries believe exclusively in direct confrontation, conducted with such clarity and force that it leaves manipulators wishing they'd selected literally any other zodiac sign to deceive. This directness isn't merely stylistic, it's strategic. The Aries understands intuitively that manipulation thrives in ambiguity and dies in clarity. By bringing complete transparency to the confrontation, they eliminate the shadows where manipulation typically flourishes. There are no mixed messages, no room for reinterpretation, no plausible deniability. The Aries states exactly what happened, exactly how they've perceived it, and exactly what consequences will follow, all delivered with a conviction that makes debate seem not just futile, but somewhat absurd. What makes this direct approach particularly devastating is the public dimension it often includes. While more reserved signs might prefer to address betrayal privately, the Aries frequently sees value in transparent processing. If your manipulation affected others, even peripherally, the Aries feels a responsibility to ensure those individuals have accurate information. This isn't done from vindictiveness, but from a genuine belief that truth serves the collective good, even when uncomfortable. James discovered this after attempting to manipulate his Aries business partner through misleading financial statements. Rather than handling the matter discreetly, the Aries called an emergency meeting with all stakeholders, presenting comprehensive documentation of the discrepancies alongside a detailed plan for restructuring to prevent future issues. There was nowhere to hide, James recalled, no way to spin it or minimize it. They laid everything out with such clarity that my only option was to take full responsibility. The ninth reason manipulating an Aries becomes exponentially dangerous involves their social dynamics, specifically the loyal alliance they cultivate and activate when betrayed. Manipulate one Aries, and you've inadvertently declared war not just on an individual, but on an entire network of fiercely protective associates who view loyalty as a non-negotiable virtue and who will eagerly join the battle against those who violate it. This alliance isn't formed through explicit recruitment or dramatic calls to arms. It emerges organically through the Aries' authentic relationships, connections built on mutual respect, shared values, and reciprocal protection. These aren't casual acquaintances, but battle-tested companions who have witnessed the Aries' loyalty firsthand and feel a natural obligation to return it. When the Aries shares their experience of betrayal, these allies respond not out of blind allegiance, but from a place of earned trust and shared ethical standards. What makes this alliance particularly formidable is its diversity. The Aries, with their natural leadership qualities and genuine approach to relationships, typically cultivates connections across various social spheres and professional domains. When activated in response to manipulation, this network creates a multi-dimensional response that impacts the manipulator from numerous angles simultaneously, professionally, socially, and sometimes even legally or financially. Sophia learned this after manipulating her Aries friend through an elaborate deception involving mutual acquaintances. When discovered, she found herself facing not just the Aries' direct response, but a coordinated boundary setting from an entire social ecosystem. It wasn't like they all confronted me at once, she explained. It was more that doors started closing everywhere I turned. People I barely knew seemed to have context about my behavior. Opportunities disappeared, invitations stopped. It was like the social ground shifted beneath my feet. The remarkable aspect of this alliance isn't just its scope, but its sustainability. Unlike reactionary mob mentality that might flare up and quickly dissipate, the Aries network maintains its protective stance with surprising longevity. This isn't fueled by gossip or drama-seeking, but by a genuine commitment to supporting someone they value and upholding shared principles about how people should treat one another. The alliance doesn't need regular reinforcement or reminders. Once activated, it becomes a self-sustaining boundary system that continues to impact the manipulator long after the initial confrontation. These three dimensions of the Aries' competitive response, their educational approach to outmaneuvering manipulation, their strategic directness in confrontation, and their activation of a loyal alliance, create a multifaceted challenge that few manipulators anticipate or prepare for. What began as a targeted deception of one individual quickly transforms into a comprehensive reckoning that impacts multiple domains of the manipulator's life, often with lasting consequences that extend far beyond the original conflict. The competitive Aries doesn't just want to address manipulation, they want to decisively win the encounter in a way that establishes clear precedent and discourages similar behavior in the future. This isn't about vengeance, but about creating clarity, demonstrating unequivocally that manipulation is not just ineffective, but actively counterproductive when attempted against them or those they protect, as we've explored how an Aries' competitive nature transforms them into formidable opponents when betrayed. We begin to understand that their response isn't merely reactive, but but strategically proactive, designed not just to address the immediate breach, but to fundamentally alter the dynamic moving forward. However, these 9 reasons still don't fully capture what makes manipulating an Aries so dangerous. The final dimension reveals perhaps their most powerful quality, their extraordinary resilience and determination once they've identified betrayal. Our final 3 reasons, the 10th, 11th, and 12th, focus on the Aries' supernatural resilience and determination when betrayed, qualities that transform what manipulators might view as a temporary setback into a powerful catalyst for the Aries' personal evolution and ultimate triumph. The 10th reason manipulating an Aries inevitably backfires centers on their almost mythical ability to recover from betrayal with unprecedented speed and strength. While you're still calculating your next manipulative move, they've already rebuilt themselves stronger and rendered you completely irrelevant in their new chapter. This phoenix-like capacity for rebirth after betrayal isn't just impressive, it's transformative in ways that fundamentally alter the power dynamic between manipulator and target. What distinguishes the Aries recovery process is its comprehensive nature. They don't just emotionally process the betrayal, they systematically rebuild every aspect of their life that was touched by the manipulator's influence. Relationships are reconfigured, professional connections are strengthened, personal boundaries are reinforced, and new opportunities are aggressively pursued. This isn't a passive healing journey, but an active reconstruction project approached with the Aries' characteristic intensity and focus. The psychological mechanism behind this remarkable recovery lies in how Aries individuals process betrayal, not as a devastating end, but as clarifying information that enables more authentic beginnings. Where other signs might ruminate on what went wrong or become trapped in cycles of self-doubt, the Aries rapidly extracts the essential lessons from the experience and immediately applies them to building something better. This pragmatic approach to emotional processing allows them to transform pain into productive action with astonishing efficiency. Alexandra witnessed this transformation after manipulating her Aries partner through a series of calculated deceptions designed to maintain control in their relationship. When discovered, she expected a prolonged period of emotional aftermath that would leave the Aries vulnerable to reconciliation on her terms. Instead, within weeks, she discovered they had completely restructured their life, securing a new job opportunity, establishing new social connections, and even embarking on the creative project they had previously postponed due to her subtle discouragement. They didn't just move on, she observed with surprise. They launched forward into a version of themselves I'd never seen before, more confident, more directed, somehow more authentically themselves than when we were together. The 11th reason attempting to manipulate an Aries becomes a significant miscalculation, involves their extraordinary energy management, specifically the emergency reserves they maintain exclusively for addressing betrayal. While most people's energy becomes depleted during conflict, the Aries actually seems to access additional resources, allowing them to outpace, outlast, and strategically outplay you at every turn, making your manipulation attempt not just futile, but exhausting. This energy phenomenon has both physiological and psychological dimensions. Physiologically, the Aries' connection to Mars, the planet of action, aggression, and vigor, provides them with an adrenaline-fueled response to betrayal that temporarily elevates their physical capabilities. Psychologically, their clarity about justice and boundaries eliminates the energy-draining effects of ambivalence or self-doubt that often hamper others during conflict. The combination creates a formidable opponent who seems to gain strength precisely when others would begin to fatigue. What makes this energy reserve particularly dangerous for manipulators is its sustainability. While the initial confrontation might be fueled by adrenaline, the Aries transitions into a steady, determined application of energy toward resolution that can be maintained for surprisingly long periods. This isn't the unsustainable burning of emotional fuel, but a measured, strategic allocation of resources toward a clearly defined objective. While you're pacing yourself for what you assume will be a marathon of conflict, the Aries is prepared for an ultra-endurance event and has trained accordingly. David experienced this energy imbalance after attempting to manipulate his Aries colleague through a campaign of subtle professional undermining. I thought they would eventually get tired of fighting back, that they would calculate the energy cost and decide it wasn't worth it, he admitted later. Instead, they seemed to become more focused and determined with each week. While I was becoming exhausted by the conflict, they were systematically addressing each instance of manipulation with fresh energy and new strategies. It was like watching someone tap into a power source I didn't have access to. But the 12th and final reason why manipulating an Aries proves catastrophic revolves around their unmatched determination once they've identified betrayal. The sheer force of an Aries' resolve, when scorned, is powerful enough to alter the entire trajectory of their life simply to prove that your attempt to manipulate them was the worst miscalculation you've ever made, transforming your momentary advantage into their greatest motivation for success and personal evolution. This determination transcends ordinary stubbornness or spite. It's a fundamental realignment of their life force toward a singular purpose, demonstrating through their actions and achievements that your manipulation was not just ineffective, but actually catalyzed their greatest growth. This isn't about proving something to you as much as it is about proving something to themselves. Specifically, that their authentic path was always superior to whatever direction your manipulation attempted to impose. What makes this determination particularly powerful is how it converts negative energy into positive momentum. Rather than becoming consumed by resentment or revenge fantasies, the Aries channels that potent emotional fuel into constructive pursuits, advancing their career, developing their talents, strengthening genuine relationships, and pursuing ambitious goals. The manipulation becomes not a traumatic memory, but a transformative moment they eventually come to recognize as valuable precisely because it cleared their path of inauthentic influences. Jonathan discovered this transformative determination after manipulating his Aries business partner to accept a lesser role in their joint venture. When the manipulation came to light, the Aries didn't just confront him, they left the partnership entirely and launched a competing business. I thought they were being impulsive and emotional, Jonathan recalled. What I didn't anticipate was their absolute commitment to proving that their vision had always been the stronger one. Within 2 years, they had built something far more successful than our original venture. It wasn't just about business success. It was about vindicating their authentic vision that I had tried to suppress. The most profound aspect of this determination is its longevity. Long after the manipulator has moved on or even forgotten the interaction, the Aries continues to draw motivation from the experience. This isn't because they remain emotionally attached to the conflict, but because they've integrated it into their personal narrative as a pivotal moment of clarity and redirection. The manipulation attempt becomes immortalized, not as a wound, but as the spark that ignited their most authentic path, a perspective that transforms what was intended as harm into an inadvertent gift. These 3 dimensions of Aries' resilience, their phoenix-like recovery ability, their extraordinary energy reserves, and their unmatched determination, create a response to manipulation that doesn't just neutralize the immediate threat, but converts it into unprecedented growth. The manipulator, expecting to gain advantage through deception, instead becomes an unwitting catalyst for the Aries' most powerful evolution, often watching from the sidelines as their former target achieves levels of success and authenticity that would have been impossible without the clarifying fire of betrayal. In the cosmic irony that often accompanies astrological patterns, the very qualities that make Aries individuals seem like attractive targets for manipulation, their directness, their passion, their clear expression of desires, are connected to the same qualities that make them the most dangerous signs to deceive. Their straightforward nature isn't naivety, but a reflection of their innate understanding that authenticity is always the most powerful position, a truth that manipulators learn too late, often at significant personal cost. As we conclude our exploration of the 12 profound reasons why manipulating an Aries leads to consequences few are prepared to handle, the Zodiac offers us a clear warning. Some fires aren't meant to be played with, Some boundaries aren't meant to be tested, and some warriors aren't meant to be challenged through deception. The Aries stands as the cosmic enforcer of this truth, ready to demonstrate through direct experience what happens when manipulation encounters the unyielding force of authentic fire. The cosmic journey we've taken through the 12 profound reasons why manipulating an Aries inevitably leads to consequences reveals a fundamental truth about this powerful fire sign. What we've discovered isn't merely a collection of personality traits, but a sophisticated defense system developed by the Zodiac's cosmic warrior, a system that transforms attempted manipulation from a temporary advantage into a catastrophic miscalculation with far-reaching consequences. We began by exploring the Aries' almost supernatural intuitive abilities, their Mars-fueled lie detection system that senses deception before it fully materializes, their meticulous archiving of betrayal that creates a permanent record of manipulation, and their capacity to transform brutal honesty into precisely targeted psychological warfare when confronting those who attempt to deceive them. We then ventured deeper into their strategic approach to justice, their laser-precise application of anger that targets vulnerabilities with military precision, their personal enforcement of karmic balance that ensures consequences are delivered tenfold, and their existential excommunication that removes manipulators from their reality with a finality few other signs can maintain. Our exploration continued into the Aries' competitive nature, their educational approach to outmaneuvering manipulation that transforms private betrayal into public lessons, their strategic directness in confrontation that eliminates the shadows where deception typically flourishes, and their activation of loyal alliances that creates multidimensional consequences across various domains of the manipulator's life. Finally, we witnessed the Aries' extraordinary resilience, their phoenix-like ability to recover and rebuild stronger after betrayal, their seemingly inexhaustible energy reserves dedicated exclusively to addressing those who've wronged them, and their unmatched determination that transforms manipulation attempts into powerful catalysts for their most significant personal evolution and success. These 12 dimensions combine to create not just a warning but a cosmic principle. Authenticity isn't just preferred in interactions with an Aries, it's required for survival. The Zodiac's first sign stands as a powerful enforcer of truth, demonstrating through direct experience that deception is not just ineffective, but actively counterproductive when attempted against the warrior of the stars. This knowledge isn't just fascinating astrological theory, it's essential practical wisdom for navigating relationships with Aries individuals in your life. Understanding these 12 principles allows you to approach these powerful fire signs with the authenticity they deserve, building connections based on mutual respect rather than manipulation or control. If you found value in these astrological insights, there are several ways you can continue this cosmic journey with us at Secret of the Zodiac. First, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button below. This simple action ensures you'll never miss our upcoming revelations about each zodiac sign's hidden powers and vulnerabilities, knowledge that can transform your understanding of the people in your life and your approach to relationships. Take a moment now to explore our other videos revealing the secret defensive mechanisms of each zodiac sign, from the emotional fortress of Cancer to the strategic boundaries of Capricorn. Each sign offers unique insights into human nature and relationship dynamics that can profoundly impact your personal and professional connections. We invite you to join the conversation by commenting below with Aries Warrior, followed by your most powerful experience with an Aries standing their ground against manipulation. Your stories not only enrich our collective understanding, but create a community of astrological wisdom that benefits everyone who visits our channel. If you found these insights particularly valuable or transformative, consider activating the Super Thanks feature, a powerful way to support our daily research into the Zodiac's hidden dimensions. Your financial contribution directly enables us to produce more frequent, more in-depth content, exploring the astrological secrets that most channels are too timid to reveal. This support allows us to maintain our commitment to authenticity In a landscape often dominated by superficial sun sign descriptions, every Super Thanks contribution, regardless of amount, helps cover the substantial costs of producing this specialized content, from research resources to production expenses, and directly influences our ability to continue delivering these cosmic revelations daily rather than weekly or monthly. Your support transforms you from a passive viewer into an active participant in spreading astrological wisdom that can genuinely transform relationships and life paths. The Zodiac has always been more than entertainment. It's a sophisticated system for understanding human nature and navigating the complex terrain of relationships. At Secret of the Zodiac, we're committed to revealing the deeper dimensions of this ancient wisdom, one sign at a time. Join us on this journey and discover how understanding these cosmic patterns can transform your approach to relationships, self-development, and personal power. Your cosmic secrets are safe with us, and we'll see you in the next revelation.